Last Monday, October 24th, I took a serious hit in football practice. I woke up on the ground, unable to move my arms and legs, going in and out of consciousness. I was taken by ambulance to a field where the Trauma Hawk could land to take me to the nearest trauma hospital. In the emergency room, I began to have what looked like seizures. I was unresponsive and convulsing. These episodes could last for up to 45 minutes. After many tests, scans, and blood work, a group of 5 surgeons came into my room and diagnosed me with a neurological condition that causes epileptic seizures and paralysis. Right in front of me, they spoke not to me, but over my head to my parents, without even acknowledging I was in the room. They told my parents that I may never be able to use my arms and legs again, and that I may be on anti-seizure medicine for the rest of my life. We refused to accept that diagnosis. Just over a year ago, God had performed another miraculous healing in my life, and I had no doubt that He would do it again. I already knew God could heal. I knew that He had a plan, and that wasn't it. At that point, filled with anger, frustration, and a sense in my spirit that something wasn't right, I kicked all 5 doctors out of my room. I yelled, "Get out!" And then, alone in my room, I began crying out to God. At this point, they had me very medicated in order to stop the episodes that looked like seizures. But instead, they became more frequent and more intense. My parents had me trauma hawked to a pediatric neurology hospital down in Miami. The episodes and paralysis continued in the trauma ICU of the Miami hospital. I was still unable to move my hands and feet and had not gotten out of my hospital bed or walked in 4 days. At this point, the outreach not only of my community, but the prayers from me worldwide started to change everything. We received an overwhelming amount of phone calls, text messages, and emails of people who were praying. On the 4th day, without any medical explanation, I got up and started to walk. Later that same day, the head neurosurgeon came into my room and told us that they reran the scans in my brain and that I was in fact not having seizures. From that point on, I never had another episode. There were literally thousands of people praying for me. Prayer has the power to change an outcome. It changed mine. I believe it started when I took my spiritual authority and refused to accept the doctor's diagnosis. I'm fortunate enough to have already experienced one of God's great miracles, and I knew from the beginning that Jesus would heal me. I remember my pastor coming to the first hospital, speaking to my impossible situation. He told me that Jesus would heal me, and that I would walk out of the hospital on my own 2 feet. 5 days later, I did just that. The doctors told me that it would be a long road to recovery, filled with daily therapy and a slow return to normal. God felt differently. The power of prayer was not done. 4 days after I left the hospital, I was able to use every limb, finger, and toe on my body. I even worked out later that day. The reason I share my story is not only to inspire people about what God can do, but to show you that miracles still happen, and that they didn't stop with the Bible. Jesus has a plan for each and every one of us, even when we have no idea what that plan is. The Bible verse God kept giving me throughout my entire accident was Deuteronomy 31:6. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. No matter what your situation is, no matter what impossible circumstances you're facing, no matter what happened or how you responded, God is with you, working and moving in ways you couldn't think of or even imagine. The Hebrew root word for testimony actually means to do it again. If God did this amazing miracle for me, He can and He will do it for you.